So what do we want to cover today? Not that this is an important discussion.
No, we need to talk about Monday, your thingy, right? And Patrick can lead us.
Monday's field study, right?
Yes.
I'm done.
Now you're done.
So I'll take a look at the agenda so we can do this.
Okay.
So on Monday, I'll wait.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, so Monday we're going to Memorial.
I thought you were gonna wait.
I'll wait.
That's what the kids wonder.
I'll wait.
How long do we make?
I wait a long
Do I have to get on the phone?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go to July 64. So we're going to miss all our afternoon classes and electives. So we're going to report to our crews after lunch and walk. You know, we could probably stagger and walk to the mag. I haven't timed it out, but I think it's about a half hour to walk. Get there around 11:45 and turn
Okay,
at
that's different.
2:30.
That's different than what you've written.
No, it's not. I cut paste what I wrote.
Well, this says leaving around 11:45.
Who has,
And lunch is over
I
at
need
11.
to add to that. Who has
30.
Brandon included?
What?
He's at the door, he's leaving. His mom's coming to pick him up. Can you let him into your room, Brandon?
Yeah, lunch is over.
Mom's coming to get him?
Yeah.
So much for staying after for me. That's what he was upset about when he went into
Brandon
class.
said that. So you said he needs his stuff in the room to go to the office, Deb?
Yep.
Oh, she must have called.
Well, lunch is up at 11:30, so by the time we get here, get the kids up, get them the study guide, and get them out the door. So I just said around 11:45. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Well-
because it ends at 11:30.
Susie called me today from the Memorial Art Gallery, and she said that, thank you, Levon, I think.
Boy.
Thanks. You locked it back up.
Pull your pants
Thank
up.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pants up. Susie called and said that the AV person could start at 12:15.
Oh, well, I say the better we start, the sooner we start, the better. They get out of lunch at 11:30. I mean, we could be out here at 11:35, get them out of lunch. I mean,
That's not gonna happen.
11:45.
Yeah,
11:40 is fine.
Well, that's what I wrote.
Yeah, I know.
I think as
I
long
don't-
as
I
we're
don't know
there
where the art-
between noon and 12:15, that would be
Right.
great. They want to start at about 12, no earlier than 12:15.
Well, the sooner we start, because we gotta make sure they're back by 2:30.
Yeah.
It's a 15-minute walk.
I would
Right.
say
I
about.
I give my
roughly-
half hour, because you know there's gonna be slaggers, and
Right.
so I can Google search it, Google, they give the exact time.
We're just
Yeah,
going
it's
to
just-
walk
it's
to the
just-
main.
No, he means they give timing on
The,
Google.
the kids
They
are,
give
the
an
kids are
estimate.
slow. I mean, Henry, I mean,
Well, they average pretty much what they Google.
right, so.
Okay, but can I tell you, Susie asked us to use the rear entrance, the entrance, not the main entrance.
I know where
but-
it is.
Okay.
Where
So
they
that's
dump
even-
I
the
know that
kids.
everybody does. So Susie said the main entrance is at the front of the building on University. The back entrance is obviously on the other side of the building. It's where the lawn is.
Because it's black.
No, because that's where students come in. Come on, Patrick. we don't
Please don't put that on tape.
It's where they come in for like if there's
Okay.
lecture for the art gallery.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna
That's
do
where
that.
students enter because there's a cloakroom. Okay, so
So
any
student-
student groups that come in,
They
come into that area.
That's important.
Okay, and so my guess, whenever sixth grade is gone there, we walk down Main Street, and then you take a right on, it's the street that School of the Arts is on.
Yeah, the street that's.
We're going in that
Prince,
back way.
isn't it?
Yep, that's the student
Right.
group entrance.
So Main Street,
Okay.
right in Prince. So yeah, as soon as we can leave, get them up here. I figured shoot by 11:45. We got guest speaker, the writer producer, and Daryl Porter. I just left it open with them. The kids are going to be going in there cold, so I figured. I told them what's going on to talk about conflict in community. Kids are going to have questions. I think we should definitely try to do a robocall.
I can do that today, yeah.
What do you mean though kids are going to be going in there cold?
Well, I'll kind of touch on that.
Okay.
Basically, we haven't, they don't really know anything about it, what the movie is or anything like that.
Was I not supposed to tell them?
Well, I mean, if you told them, I mean, some do, some don't. I haven't gone into in depth about what it is or why we're seeing it yet. Okay, so could we all agree to contact our crew, make sure,
Yeah.
email them, okay. The chaperones, I got 5 core teachers, Ms. Legg and Mr. Hilling, that's 5, 6, 7. I don't know about Ashley.
She would, I just worry if we leave kids back, what do we want to do with them?
We gotta worry about that.
I
We can,
have
Miss
my
Tan is
student
available
observer,
because
Is
she's
he out
with our
there?
kids.
So you
And
put here Monday? So
Yeah, he's
Robert-
on Monday.
Well, that all depends. I mean, how many kids are being back?
I don't think, it's probably just the ISS kids. I don't think
Yeah.
too many kids should be left back.
Well,
Just
it's
some
if
what
work.
if
they
they
don't
bring
have
in the
permission
form?
slips, because right now we got like 10 altogether.
Okay, I know, but we've always been going
Right.
through this and the permission slips get in. So I think that for the most part, we never have no more
I
than 5
agree.
kids
'Cause
stand behind.
I know when I
We've
handed
never
out in
had that.
Stanford, the kids were like, finally, we're leaving the building, a field study?
Right, a lot
so-
of them were excited,
And
so.
I'm telling my kids, get the paperwork in, even if you don't have the money, so it
Right.
doesn't become a thing.
Yeah.
So
They're doing that.
we
Yeah,
gotta,
they're doing that.
yeah, so, whatever. So I don't think we have, Tilly, do we ever figure out what's going on here?
She's gonna talk to Sheila.
Okay, so I think we have enough chaperones, you guys agree?
Mhm.
Okay. Field study guide, this is the sample I made, it looks just like the permission set that Pete did, I copied it. So real quick, look through the field study guide, any questions or comments? Learning targets are on the front page. I can represent WS by modeling the design principles for others field study. I can develop learning questions pertaining to the causes of the conflict in the community of Rochester that occurred in July '64. I can explain the events that occurred in the Rochester community in July '64. I can make predictions about what happened to the Rochester community after the events in July '64. Does that make sense? That goes in.
One question about it. When are they being told these learning targets? Exactly. In your class,
I was-
after lunch?
I was gonna go over that.
During crew?
I was gonna go over that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you turn to the very first page, it's
Oh.
the crew activity. So crew Monday morning, and Gabby needs to help me with this. Actually, I found from the producer, that film, they use that film in the movie. So it's like, I found this real cheesy film on YouTube, and it's filmed in 1963 about Rochester, and it's like white people with the beaver.
It's like,
and
come
it's-
meet at the
Yeah.
International Clock at Midtown.
Yeah, it's all these white people driving their
Like,
cars.
everybody's like
Right.
standing in a circle
So it's like
at
Leave
Midtown.
It to Beaver in Rochester. So we were gonna do, I noticed I wonder in crew about that.
Okay.
You know, it's like this brand new state-of-the-art Midtown Plaza and all this stuff, so we do noticing and wonderings about that. Then we would talk about what type of community is Rochester trying to portray, what's the image that they're portraying. You know, what type of conflict is portrayed in this documentary, which is basically nothing, that everyone's white and happy and works in a business and has a suit. Then what might be left out or missing from the documentary. I'm assuming they're gonna automatically pick up, there's no people of color in there, there's no poverty in there, there's no quote-unquote ghetto in there. So that's gonna be crew. So is that like a doable crew activity everyone can do?
Are you thinking Monday?
Yeah.
As long as my
You're
girls start
supposed
coming
to
in
have crew
time.
next week, but there's only 3 days. Monday, Tuesday.
Well, this would be
Thursday.
Monday. It's important that we get this, because that's gonna be like the preface for it. Because then, when we get to the movie, basically, one's titled Rochester '63, one's titled July '64. So we're gonna be like, well, how did it go from this lily white Leave the Beaver utopia to this, what you saw today? So when they get to the mag, they'll have to do the noticing and wonderings, and I put plenty of pages, because we really gotta stress that they need that.
So this is the end of the crew activity?
Yes.
Right here?
So I can make a date for that, to stress.
Can I make a did you copy enough for all students yet?
No, this is the prototype.
Can I just make a recommendation? For me, these get lost. If you've got the 11 by 17, this is one sheet of 11 by 17 folded
I don't
out.
Like we
think-
did for
I
the
don't think
kickoff.
there's any down there.
I'll find
There
some.
was some.
There,
I'll
yeah,
find
I
some.
don't know
there's.
if there's
You know what I
enough,
mean?
but
It
if you
makes
wanna
it-
do that, we can do that.
I'll find it, because you've got, this for us is fine, but I just see kids losing this stuff. It gets
Because
detached.
I looked and I didn't see any.
I'll find some for you.
Okay, I put plenty of room for notes, we really gotta stress them for notes. Then after the speakers, maybe if that's too much, I can take it out.
I would add directions here. So, like, to have that much space, you better
So-
put some minimums, like,
You're right, so add, I could put the learning targets, copy,
or the one that's appropriate for
or make the
that.
learning targets, add.
Right, for each one, because do I need all the,
Okay, because you're right, because I want to stress them that, because we're going to be using this to develop learning questions that we're going to use for the rest of the year.
okay.
So then after the movie, it was almost like, in the last page, it was almost going to be like a silent shop talk, that type thing with themselves. So take a few moments to quietly reflect on your noticing and wonderings and write down 5 burning questions that you have you know, pertaining, so they should be able to quietly go down and come up with 5 questions. Then those are the things they can ask Darryl Porter and producer writer, so they have time to think about good questions to ask. Yes.
Would it be wrong, I noticed, if we gave them some categories like people I see, places I
Especially if it's
recognize?
on one big.
Right.
Just to give them some more guidance. Because sometimes you get lost in what I notice.
Yeah.
What would you like? People have a learning target to record, people, you know, people, should it be a separate?
If you put it in learning targets, say, I can,
I'm saying,
How dark
yeah,
is it in there?
should it be in the
Can they even
learning
write
targets, or should it be
during-
like something like this?
that's what I was thinking, just to guide them.
Like people,
Yeah, there you go.
places.
But what else should be in there?
Well, I haven't seen 64.
Events.
Causes.
Yeah, actually, I'll burn you guys.
Can I ask
copy.
is a reference to community in there?
No, that's
Yeah.
what Carla was saying.
I'm sorry,
Community
missed
example.
that.
Not in this, but
Carla,
everything else.
please.
What type of conflict is
Right.
between, conflict in community.
But like, what type of community they see? We've talked about that, right? I think they should be able
Right,
to
'cause-
define
Right.
that or notice
Right.
that.
Community.
Can you describe
Maybe
the
that would be
community
cool, like,
and
Right.
how is the
box.
community functioning
Like
or
your job.
Right,
experiencing dysfunction?
right.
Because we talk about the first video, Weaverville, you know, the white perfect community, that I put in there. So here it should be, what's the reality of the community? So,
Right, so if you can make the one for the crew activity kind of mimic the one that we go to the movie theater so they can kind of get practice, do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
that's a good idea.
And
So,
then,
mimic.
so like have that same thing so then they can see the
That's a
different
good idea.
communities and like compare and contrast
All
that.
right, I like that.
Patrick, how long is the movie?
It's 1 hour.
It's 1 hour.
Okay.
So we don't have a lot of time for the speakers.
Susie was asking, so we want people at the beginning and then at the end, so maybe Darryl Porter
It
or,
was never clarified or established to the speakers. I kind of told them what we're doing. I could ask to introduce it or not introduce it, or, I mean, I could easily ask for that.
I think like a brief introduction at the beginning. She asked how the stage, she
So I
wanted
think
to,
Chris, well, no, because they're definitely going to be up there to speak, so I think Chris should introduce it, don't you think? Because she's the writer,
yeah.
so Chris.
And then at the end, have the two of them answer questions.
Yeah,
from
that's what I
students.
figured.
Yeah,
So I was gonna,
perfect.
just a quick introduction. Again, the kids are going in cold. I mean, even if it's just like she's talking about conflict and community and, you know, just like a quick introduction.
Yep.
Right.
So, Robert, you mentioned that some students know about it. I
was
told,
going over it in crew and encouraging them to go because I thought maybe if they heard what the documentary is about, they'd be more interested in going.
yeah.
Yeah.
So today, they watched Coney 2012, and there was a graphic organizer that had them talk. They had to take notes on the content, which was basically the information, but then they also had to talk about the documentary features. So, like the person who created it, Russell, had used interviews. He used news footage, still pictures.
Maybe
So
we
they're
can
looking at it
that.
from a videographer's perspective, but also what is the information. And in each class, in the first class, 1 student had seen it. The second class, 2 students had seen it. The
Good.
third class, 4. The last class, no students had
Six
seen the
saw
video, the
this?
documentary before. No,
Coney.
the documentary,
Coney or this?
Coney 2012.
Oh.
So one of the things that I said was, we're going on a field study on Monday, and we're going to the Memorial Art Gallery to see July 64, which chronicles what was happening in Rochester in 1964 regarding the civil rights movement. I didn't give a lot of detail, and I said one of the things that I'm hoping for today is to see, how is it that you watch a documentary? What does it look like? You don't have conversations. You're watching the documentary and you're taking notes. So that's just to give you an idea
That's
of what
good.
was expected. There are about 4 or 5 students who were struggling today. One ended up with a lunch detention. I'll go into that in a little while. But, I think those need to be students that we talk to about, when you go on a
Absolutely.
field study.
And they can sit next to an adult.
And I told them, I said, you can watch it back here at school on your own or in a small group. But when you go out on a field study, you represent yourself, your school, your family, your community, and our expectations are pretty high with respect to your behavior. So that's stuff that you're going to cover on Monday.
Oh, absolutely.
What
It's
does it
gonna be
look like? What does it sound like?
Like crew and before we leave.
Good, good, good.
Part of
Who are the
learning
speakers?
target.
I'm sorry.
If you want to add anything to learning target here.
speakers are who, Patrick?
Chris, the producer, Chris Christopher, and Daryl Porter.
And just one more quick thing. I bumped into Joe Griffin, who, did anyone know Joe Griffin?
Is he,
From where? He's facilities. And his aunt is Lulu Westbrook's Griffin, who Davin Reddington got a hold of last year. He was in the hallway yesterday, and I said, "Hey Joe, how you doing?
Really?
How's your aunt doing?" And he was saying that she's doing fine, and he said, "Hey, do you want her to come back and talk again?"
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So-
She was fantastic.
So what's the contact?
Well, so for those of you who don't know Lulu Westbrook's Griffin, I believe she was 12 when she was arrested with a number of girls in Americus, Georgia, because they were protesting about the desegregation of movie theaters. And about 45 young girls were put in the Civil War stockade for 45 days. 45 days. I mean, there's
Nothing.
community itself. Well, you know, what did the community do? But then what community was formed within that Civil War stockade, right? So that's where I'm getting to, Patrick, if you're thinking about how does this connect. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't connect. We haven't contacted her yet.
No, I would love, because,
Well, that's conflict in community.
right,
Yeah,
and the
I know,
whole,
it's definitely.
and the whole, I plan on backtracking, and the whole month of May is going to
Right.
be about the civil rights movement, and I would love to have her, and
my understanding is she was born and raised in Americus, Georgia, but is now relocated up north, so that ties in with the Great Migration.
when she came to Rochester?
I don't.
'Cause unfortunately, I missed the entire presentation because Ellen was puking her guts out of
Oh, that's right.
None of the fast track.
They have a nice, they gave it to me because I was asking, and they have a nice, like, 2-page written up description of who she is and why she
Who
came
has
to
it?
school. The Dream Team.
She was so engaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was,
Kids
I
loved
was
it.
so mad I missed that.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
but
her
I'm-
whole story. in
This is the
text.
Brockport
so I would love
professor.
to have her as
It's
a,
pretty powerful.
I'm not
so,
sure.
yeah, we'll definitely get her.
So we'll connect on how to get a hold of her. But, you know, it was, you know, he said she'd love to come back and talk, and I think it would be a
Nice.
great
I would love to have her,
opportunity.
yeah.
I think it fits in.
No, it
and
totally
like you
fits.
said, Chris, she's very engaging.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's about it. So where are we?
And she had him singing and
She did have me singing.
She
great.
really, oh, I love that.
Sing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the field study, so take your suggestions in the heart, I like that.
Patrick, we were talking, because maybe we could do this for the note-taking, the people in it, the places they see, the communities, the events, so they're really getting down.
People,
And you have,
places.
so if you're doing the bigger sheet, that would be one bigger one, and then on the back, because they can do it later, which is the burning questions and the reactions and comments to the whole thing.
And not for nothing, but if you're sitting in a movie theater with one piece of paper on your lap, you're gonna need clipboards, pencils, and light.
Well, that's part, I mean, I don't know about the light, I would assume, you know, that, I mean, I guess maybe it's not.
Well, the little theater, once they started showing the movie.
Yeah,
you
they
could
had
see-
the light, I assume the
Okay.
projector's enough
So
for.
there's enough light from the movie.
Right, I have on here the field study guide on the
Clipboards.
agenda, clipboards. Between you and me, we had over,
I've sent an email out and I've collected what's come back, I haven't counted them, but I have 2 milk crates back.
because I just checked my room, I have like 25, and we used.
So we haven't,
You sure? Because we,
No.
we used to have,
I'll go
between,
count.
I
we
think I only
had,
have 1 or 2.
so if any clipboards, we need to get them
I
back.
had some too.
And if we could all just take
I know, I had at
responsibility
least 10.
for our crew to have writing utensils,
Okay.
so.
Can I, when we went to the Little for the Way of All Flesh, the notes were already there for the students.
Yeah.
There was a couple prompts that they had to respond to. Because I don't know if we want, I don't know. Do we want them while they're watching a documentary taking
I
notes?
think so, because the way of the flesh, there was kids sleeping, and this way it's holding them more accountable. There was, I mean,
Yeah.
there was.
So if you,
This is
doing them
just holding
simple, because it's important for them to recognize the people, the places, the events, and the community might be able to be done later, and the burning questions and reactions that definitely should be done later, not during.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I also, on one hand, you just want to go and enjoy it, soak it in, and sometimes it's almost counterproductive to be writing down stuff. But I feel as though that needs to be said, because there was kids sleeping, there's kids down with their hoods up over their head.
I'm not saying that, oh, I lost my train of thought, so never mind.
I was gonna say that I do think that they should be taking notes, like writing down people and stuff like that, because I think it's important for them to be able to identify names and stuff like that.
Important.
So when we do have like Dr. Cooper come in or Daryl
Right.
Porter, they're like, oh, I wrote down that name. Like
Right.
that name sounds familiar. Oh, or you know,
Right.
even if you engage in them, well, why did you write down Dr. Cooper's name? Well, because he was talking about such and such. So I feel like going through that process for
Right.
them of identifying people and stuff like that would be important.
And I want something that I can use in class on Tuesday, so it's not like a blank slate. We're gonna be using these to be brief.
So when they go into the auditorium at the Memorial Art Gallery, they're going to sit by crews.
Yes.
I
Well,
think-
I prefer
I think
that.
they should sit by crew.
I think
Because I
think
thought
it's
that
easier to
worked better
manage.
last
More
time,
manageable
and then
with
I,
people